they could possibly stop that. Okay, you can start. Right.
Currently, is it mostly like free market regulations or government regulations that prevent the monopolies?
Free market regulations. So more or less, the government's making sure that the market is free and competitive for all forces, both big market and the small market. So that way, more or less, markets have companies have the ability to continue to increase. Because what can happen here is, more or less, if one company gets really strong control, they can stifle everything out. Whereas if you keep this free market competition working, everyone can basically be continually fighting up this kind of sand hill, essentially. Bought a country, not that I know of. Not that I know of. Islands, yes. Like for instance, the guy in charge of Virgin Mobile, Richard, what's his name?
Sir Richard Branson?
Yeah, Richard Branson. Richard Branson owns islands, plural. Yeah. He knows the parts of that. Not the whole thing.
How do you said they compete to like make it market value? What eventually just be getting bigger anyways? Did they keep it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other thing is what's going to happen is this, and this is one of the things that the Republican Congress is proposing with health care, is right now, I'll just kind of give you one example. In Pennsylvania, it's a really bad version of Pennsylvania. Okay.
That's nice.
It's not bad.
Honestly,
And Ohio, okay?
What's your first compliment was?
You got Pennsylvania, Ohio. Yeah, Pennsylvania's a little too long. Okay. Pennsylvania, you've got I think it's 5 health insurance companies within the state of Pennsylvania. Okay. Ohio has 3. Which? Well, it's Cleveland. Anyways, which state has more health care competition? Pennsylvania does. Okay. One of the things the Republicans have proposed to do for health care is instead of having state-by-state locked health insurance, is to open it up. So that way in this region, you now have 8 companies all fighting for the same group of people. What does that then do to the market price? It's going to actually lower it because there's more competition out there. So there's going to be companies basically trying to undercut each other to get more people. Because again, you want 5 dimes over 1 quarter. Make sense?
What's universal healthcare?
Universal healthcare would be the government controls the healthcare service.
So is it like they control?
Well, no, Obamacare is not universal healthcare. Obamacare was a federal option.
So does the government like control all the businesses, or do they just mesh all the businesses together?
They're gonna mesh all the businesses together, and they're gonna come up with a market policy depending on certain people's odds. Okay? Like, here's an example. For all insurance, and this might be something you guys are interested in if you're in math or science fields. Does anyone know what is an actuary? An actuary. Okay. Actuary sciences are this. They are mathematicians who figure out what is the cost of someone in any form of insurance. So like for instance, auto insurance. They're the people that come up with the age groups and the risk for each of these age groups, okay? And so what actuaries do is they're the guys that crunch the numbers to figure out how much your policy or premiums are. And they make a lot of money off of it. And by the way, you only need a 4-year degree for it too. Actuaries start off around $60,000. That's really not bad. And then more or less you work up by taking harder and harder actuary math tests, and you can get the 6 figures relatively easily. But that's how this like health insurance goes. Now, a universal health care would be basically the United States says, we're going to have this many different, like we'll call them like versions of health care, and you choose it. So maybe there's an elderly option, okay, a middle-aged option, and then there's a child option, okay, just as an example. And more or less you would pay off of that, but everyone in the country has to now pay this for every paycheck, or out of your taxes, okay? Which would then mean, on average, people's taxes inside the United States would increase because of that being a new service, approximately 15 to 25%. so like when people say, oh, wow, they're getting free healthcare at whatever country it may be. That's true, but at a higher increase in your income tax level.
Doesn't Canada have universal healthcare?
They do.
Isn't it pretty bad though, the services?
No, Great Britain's is bad. Canada's actually not too bad. Yeah. Britain had what's called gatekeepers. And what gatekeepers are is basically, what was that? Anyways, gatekeepers are basically family doctors who you've got to go to, and they've got to approve you to go to a specialist. Whereas in the United States, you know, if you have, if you break your ankle, you can then go to a podiatrist directly. Whereas with some of these national health care, you have to go to someone, pay that fee, to then go to the specialist, pay that fee. Make sense? There's a lot of countries in Europe now that have national health care, but more or less, what you're doing is you're now saying, I want the government to now basically be my health insurance provider, pay for that health care, instead of you finding it yourself. It's kind of a give and take. All right, looking to get this down? This is the last real tactical term. Robber barons. Luke's on Noah, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So robber baron's tactic is this. If you're trying to stifle competition, and this is what people are afraid of with monopolies. Who wants to be my candy companies?
Noah.
Noah.
Avery.
Who you know?
Aaron. Me and Noah.
Yes.
3 8, 2 more A's. 2 more A's.
Okay, let's just make it completely confusing.
Yeah.
Dom and then Gary.
No Gary.
Alright.
No one Gary.
You're not about.
Yeah, well,
Gary, come get me.
not right now. I'm in front of the teacher.
Okay. good
Such a
luck.
gentleman.
Good luck.
No one now.
Alright, so everyone's selling Hershey bars in the cafeteria. Same Hershey bar. Which company you going to?
A. Alma. N. A.
You're going to Anthony, okay? Which eventually you're going to mean Dominic's going to get pushed out,
Sorry, no.
okay? Then Gary and Noah kind of realize what Anthony's doing here. So then they're going to drop their candy price down to 75 cents. What term is that when business owners set a new price?
You're confident.
You just said it. What's the term when business owners set the price to destroy competition? What's that called? Let's see. Cartel. Okay. So now Noah and Gary have a cartel on Hershey bars. Who gets pushed out now? Anthony. So Anthony's up.
Yeah.
So now it basically comes down to a lower competition thing.
Gary,
Okay.
please like Gary would.
No, never.
So Gary's been saving his money. Noah's been making it rain. Keeps going to McDonald's. Keeps getting himself a dirty leprechaun. If you don't know what a dirty leprechaun is, that is a half chocolate shake, half shamrock shake. That is a thing.
Yeah.
So if
Ask
you
them,
ask
be
them,
nice, be very polite to them, or they will say no.
May I
Okay.
please have a dirty leprechaun?
What's that?
I said, may I please have a dirty
They
leprechaun?
have a dirty leprechaun. Yeah.
Sounds like something.
Anyway,
good?
what's that? Oh, it's delicious. It's like a York peppermint patty. It's delicious.
Ooh.
So good. Anyways,
That's what I'm doing.
I think it's like a big shake.
yeah,
He probably does that for you to get the leprechaun.
it's really good. Anyways, so Noah hasn't been saving his money. Gary has.
Oh, gee.
They keep like matching their same prices, but the actual price for them to buy a candy bar is 50 cents. Okay, the actual like to go to Sam's Club, be 50 cents. And so Gary says, I know how I can destroy Noah and be the only person selling candy bars. This is known as a robber baron. Because he saved his money and Noah's been too busy drinking dirty leprechauns, okay, Gary says, you know what? I'm gonna charge chocolate 40 cents. And Noah's like,
Big G.
why? Why are you gonna do that to me? And so Noah's like, well, I'm only gonna make limited profit here, but I'm gonna at least try and make some profit off this. So Gary's actually gonna take an economic hit. But who are you going to get the chocolate from? From Gary, okay? Which eventually means Noah's gone. Gary's got a chocolate monopoly, and then what can he do? He can make any price he wants, which is a robber baron move, okay? Yeah. So Gary then becomes a monopolist. Yes?
What's it called when there's like two huge companies left and they like both agree to make the prices the same?
Like we just said, that's a cartel.
Oh, that is.
That is a cartel, yes.
How often does that rubber baron happen?
Anymore, no. Back then, they're thug life all day. Now, the reason why they have these like dirty, nasty moves like this is because of Charles Darwin's theory. It's the last thing I want you to get down today. Charles Darwin comes up with the idea of the theory of evolution. Businesses bring this into their own market and bring up the concept of social Darwinism. More or less, the strongest businesses, the strongest minds in business survive. Hence, social Darwinism. Go ahead.
What do you want us to take down? Just all of it?
Yeah, take all this. Yeah. And what happens here is this legitimizes guys like Rockefeller and Carnegie because they're saying the reason why I'm successful is because I have the best business out here. Hence why I am a monopoly. And this is why these companies get destroyed. Okay. Other companies are going to be a lot more nice about this. Best example would be in 1887, Milton Hershey is going to create the Hershey Chocolate Factory in what we now think of as Hershey, PA. What he decides on doing is instead of destroying the competition, he decides to make the best company. So what he does, he sponsors people from all around the country that have worked in chocolate. They live in Hershey, PA. He builds housing for them, schools, churches, and he basically makes the most efficient product because his individual workers are working best because they're the happiest. Okay? Another country that does this is, or another company that does it is Google. Google is really good and really efficient because they try to make their employees the most happy, therefore the most efficient.
Didn't GE do that?
They do. Exactly. Same idea as Hershey. Same thing as Wrigley. Wrigley's gum, before it was just a stadium, okay? Wrigley's gum was the same premise. Basically, make the employees the happiest to make them the most efficient. Yeah.